You're clicking on this video for one of two reasons. One, you can't shoot, you're breaking every shot and you need a savior. Or two, you can shoot, you need no help and you just enjoy the videos. Either way, I got you today. I'll be revealing 9 jump shots that will save you in NBA 2K24. I'll also be leaking the shooting secrets that the top players don't want you to know. What's up, guys? It's a little background video. Before I put you guys onto straight game and turn you guys into the best shooters on the entire game, make sure you're subscribed because a lot of y'all that watch aren't actually subscribed. So the first thing I want to show you guys before we get into any of the jump shots, and just so you guys know, all of this matters. If you guys don't know about these certain things that I'm about to bring up, like this first thing right here, lethal zones, then you're going to be at a disadvantage because everybody else knows about these things. So first, pull up the main menu, press start, go to the My Career tab, click on stats. It's the bottom option, right bumper over to roster, and then find yourself, push your right stick in and you will see all of these different options. You want to click your left trigger or left or L1, whatever it is on PlayStation, over until you see hot zones. Now when you have hot zones, you're going to shoot better from those zones, and you guys can see I have a ton of hot zones. But this year there are things called lethal zones where they turn purple on this chart right here. Now first off, if you didn't have hot zones when you checked your chart, where you guys want to go is pull out the map. You guys want to go up here to the Sunset Park. It's all the way at the top of the city. That's a really easy spot to get your hot zones because, I mean, you can just play AI players and green a lot of shots. Now, where you want to go to get the lethal zones, and a lot of beginner players don't know about this, you want to go to City East up here. And so once you come out of the subway station, you want to go right to this building, Art of Shooting. On the map, it is right here. And once you're inside, you want to go up to this guy, click A to start drills. You can hold A, or if you're on PlayStation, hold X to skip the cutscenes. And then you just have to take 10 shots at each zone. So you get to pick 2 zones that you want to turn to lethals. Now, if these are not hot zones, you guys see I have red all around the 3-point line pretty much except the left corner. So they will turn to lethal if I pick those zones. But if I pick one of my gray zones, one of my neutral zones, it will go to a hot zone. So it'll be a 1-tier upgrade. So that's why it's important to have your hot zones first so that you can turn them to lethals. You could pick whatever zones you want. When I'm on a guard, I normally pick the 2 hashes like these 2. If I'm on my lockdown, I'll pick the 3-point corners just like that. And if you're on a center, I mean, that really depends where you be shooting from. It's probably the hashes. Maybe you shoot from the top of the key a lot and, you know, something like, I don't know. It's up to you. I will pick the hashes since I'm on a guard. You guys can see, take 10 shots from the marker on the floor. A lot of people probably already know about this, but basically you just want to make, I think it's like 8 shots. One more shot and bang, we went 10 for 10 from both zones. Again, you don't have to make all 10 shots. You got to make 8 to get them to lethal zones. And as you guys can see up top, the hot zones have turned purple, and now I have lethal zones. It's going to be a lot easier to shoot from those spots on the court. The next part of the shooting tips, the shooting secrets portion of this video, is going to be my controller settings, because everybody always asks me about these. Of course, you want to press start, go over to options/quit, and then there's pretty much nothing in settings, so you don't really got to worry about this. But if you go to controller settings, this is what matters. I have shot timing on shots and layups, but if you don't want to time your layups, you know, you don't want the meter to pop up, then put this on shots only. I do shots and layups though. Shot timing visual cue is a setting that they added in NBA 2K24. It's new, and I use push. This is all personal preference. If you've been greening a lot and you've been on, say, you know, jump, or if you've been on release or maybe set point, a lot of people use set point, then you can keep it on it. It's personal preference. What this is basically jump is like putting it on very early from previous 2Ks. Set point is like early, push is like late, and release is very late. So if you put it on release, which would be like very late from previous 2Ks, you have to hold the X or the square button if you're on PlayStation when you're shooting, obviously, a lot longer than, say, if you put it on jump, which would be like very early. This would be, you know, releasing your X button, your shooting button, very fast. I like to go somewhere in the middle, which would be set point or push. I use push. If it's literally your first day on 2K, then you could keep your jump shot meter on, but as many of you guys know, turning your jump shot meter off will give you a shot percentage boost, confirmed by Mike Wang. This has been a thing since literally 2K20. You're gonna make a ton more shots with your jump shot meter off. I think it's a 20% boost to your greens with your jump shot meter off. I don't think anything else here really matters, so I will scroll down if you guys want to, you know, copy any of these settings down. The next thing that's going to turn you into the best shooter on the game is going to be buying jump shot boosts. And no, I do not work for 2K. I'm not, you know, trying to make you buy VC. If you press start, go over to progression, and then you guys can go to the get boost tab. You guys can see I have 81 games of jump shot boosts, and this is not a myth. Some people say, oh, jump jump shot boosts don't do anything. No, actually all of the best players, the top 2K League players, the Pro-Am players, the stage players, the people that are playing in wagers, everybody buys jump shot boosts. Even me, every single game that I play, whether it's a park, a meaningless park game or an actual game that matters a lot, I'm using jump shot boosts. You can get 10 games worth for 1500 VC. It's one of those things that's like a no-brainer, like a build. You know what I'm saying? You can't get on 2K and play with the 60. I mean, you can play with the 60 overall, but you know what I'm saying? It's one of those things that's just like second nature at this point. You know what I mean? If you are playing without jump shot boosts, then I don't know what you're doing, because you are at an absolute disadvantage. And before I tell y'all some absolute game-changing tips that will help your shooting, we got a quick word from today's sponsor. If you guys sign up in Underdog Fantasy and use code SOLO, you will get this Stephen Curry half-a-point pick for his game on Thursday. And if you guys sign up after Thursday, you'll still get a special. It'll just be for another player, most likely. And if you guys don't know what Underdog Fantasy is, it's higher or lower on your favorite players' player stats. So if you think you know what certain players are going to do on certain nights, then sign up, get on Underdog Fantasy. Again, use code SOLO. It'll give you that special and it'll double your first deposit. So if you put in $10 on Underdog, you'll get 20. They're gonna match it. And you guys can see I picked out 5 different picks from different sports. They have pretty much every sport. They even have esports on here. We have LeBron, Panarin, Mike Trout, Steph Curry, and Aaron Judge. And if I was to put $10 in this, I'd win 250. Now it is boosted because Panarin is not expected to get a goal, but since it is boosted 1.25x, I would win 250. Normally this would just be 20x, not 25x. The MLB season also starts in a month, so if you guys are interested in getting into some fantasy drafts, they have a ton of those as well. Again, don't forget, use code SOLO when you sign up, and if you do use my code, tweet at me on Twitter. I got you with a follow back. Okay, so I'm about to show you guys how I green literally every well, not every shot, but you know what I'm saying, pretty much all my shots, and how I play so well and win so many games. And I'm gonna do that in the Gatorade facility. So if you guys are on next gen, it's right here on the map. Just find this building and then go to the back here, and you're gonna want to reserve a private court, as I'm gonna do right here. But if you guys are on current gen, you guys can just go to the my court, because I'm pretty sure y'all still have a my court that you can practice dribbling on, or I should say shooting on. And once you guys get up here, you will find, your little name on your court, and you could go in here, left bumper or whatever it is on PlayStation will equip your ball, and then bang, you can practice shooting. And hold on, I'm stuck for a second. There we go. This is where you guys can get your reps in, but this is where I'm going to show you guys pretty much everything that I do. Pretty much hit all of my open shots and even some smothered. And the first tip, probably the most important shooting tip that I can give you guys on this entire game, and this is pretty much a no-brainer, but it's gonna be to shoot with confidence. Once I started doing this pretty much around November, I started seeing a huge boost to my shooting. And once I started doing this, I became one of the best shooters in the entire game. You got to shoot like everything's going in. Some people be very hesitant. They're shooting and they're not sure. They're like, well, I'm going to shoot this, but I don't know if it's going to go in. No, tell yourself, I don't care if I'm fading. I don't care if I'm back fading from the parking lot. That's obviously not going to go in, but you know what I'm saying? Tell yourself that you are literally invincible and you're going to make every shot. I know it sounds crazy, but it makes a huge difference. And now I'm not telling y'all to come down the court and shoot with 3 defenders in your face, but what I'm basically saying is if somebody does close out, like, maybe you thought you had an open shot, but you know what? A defender closed out on you unexpectedly, and now you're shooting a contested shot. Don't get shook. Don't shoot a very early, don't shoot it late. You know what I'm saying? Time that like as if you're wide open and you knew it was going to go in. Shoot every shot, no matter if it's smothered or not, with confidence. You guys saw I had a shot with pretty much no stamina, shooting with confidence, it's going in. Another reason why this method is so successful with shooting is because a lot of defenders, especially the bad ones, don't even get a contest on you. You pretty much, like, there used to be ghost contests, right? If someone was running past you, they didn't even have to have their hands up. If they were near you, like, I've even seen it where there's an ankle breaker. There's a player on the ground in front of you, and if you're shooting, but they're right there, like they're on the ground, you know what I'm saying? They're not getting a real contest. They will get a ghost contest, and they will get, a 15% or whatever. This year, however, I feel like it's pretty good. Like, they have to get a hand up or else it's going to be open. And a lot of defenders just don't get a hand up, especially the bad ones. And that's another reason why if you're a lockdown watching this, or a spot up, or someone that takes catch and shoot shots, if you're in the corner, a lot of the time they don't close out. out, or maybe they close out, but they're on the side of you, or they don't get to you in time. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the time in a corner catch and shoot, and this is what I do on my lockdown when I be playing in wagers on my lockdown. A lot of time, the corner pocket is wide open unless they're literally hugging you in the corner. So on catch and shoots especially, just shoot with confidence, bro, because they might only get like a 5% contest in you. And again, a lot of the bad defenders won't even get their hand up in time. The second shooting secret that I have for you guys is that you're going to want to time everything the exact same. A lot of people, when they see a defender closing out on them, you know what I'm saying, they think a defender's going to get a contest on them. They get scared. They release it very early. And you know what I'm saying, they end up shooting it very early because they see that defender. And it's not like real life. You know, in real life, if someone's about to jump at you, yeah, you try to throw it up fast. You know what I'm saying? You try to release it fast. No, you're just going to end up shooting a very early or an early or whatever. I don't care if there's a defender jumping at you. If there's 3 defenders on you when you're shooting the ball, time everything as if you're wide open. Time everything the exact same. Now, the only exception where this doesn't, you know, count, where this isn't true and you want to time it differently is if you're absolutely out of stamina. Then you have to time it a little bit longer. You got to hold the X or the square button just a little bit longer. My third shooting secret for you guys, and this is an absolute huge one, is going to be about positive takeover and green machine. Everybody knows about takeover. You know, when you're playing good, you can pop sharp takeover, and now you have sharp shooting takeover. You're not going to miss a shot. But not a lot of people know about positive takeover. And what positive takeover is basically when you're filling up your takeover meter. You know, if you make a shot, or maybe you get an assist on the first play of the game and your takeover meter starts filling, maybe it's at, you know, 20%. You don't have takeover yet, but just being at 20% gives you positive takeover. Your stats increase when you have a little bit of your takeover meter filled. Again, you don't even need to have takeover. So that's why a lot of the best players, you see it in Pro-Am a lot more, will start the game off with, you know, just a little midi because those are easier to make, or maybe they'll start off with an assist just to get a little bit of positive takeover before they shoot their first 3. And then also, as I said before, green machine. People don't understand how overpowered green machine is. If you guys don't know what green machine is, it is a badge that once you green one shot, you have a bigger green window for your next shot. So it's easier to green once you know green 1 or 2 shots. You know what I'm saying? Once that starts rolling, it starts stacking. So if you start the game off and you run to the midi and do a little midi fade, bang, you're gonna have positive takeover and you're gonna get your green machine going. So that's why that is a very effective way to start games off. And my fourth tip is something that may be a little bit uncontrollable for you guys, especially if you're younger, but that is going to be to have not only an Ethernet cable. If you guys don't know what an Ethernet cable is, basically it goes straight from your router into the back of your Xbox. So I know a lot of y'all's routers are not going to be in the same room that you play in, which goes straight from the back of your router into the back of your Xbox. You're gonna have a wired connection and you're gonna have less lag. You know, it's gonna be better for the latency. And then also a wired controller. If you're playing wireless, it's not as good as if you play with a wired controller, because this gives you better latency. And some people buy an 8-bit wired controller, and the one that I ended up buying is a Power A controller. But yeah, it's time to get into the jump shots. What I will say about your jump shots is pick one and get used to it. A lot of people change their jump shot way too much. They never give themselves a chance to get used to the jump shot that they were using. Now it's time to be the savior, give you guys the greatest jump shots in the game. Today I have 9 different jump shots, and the reason that I'm giving you guys 9 different jump shots is because I want to give y'all options. And something you guys gotta know, so don't skip before you hear this, is in the bottom right hand corner you guys can see the requirements. So if I put on Ryan Arcidiacono, I need a 73 plus mid-range or a 73 3-point. If I put on DJ Augustine, I need a 75 mid-range or a 3-point. And you guys can also see the height requirements down there. Depending on your height, you're not going to get all of the jump shots that I'm going to show you. So that's why I'm giving you guys 9. If you skip to this part of the video, because I know some people do that in jump shot videos, make sure you sub up because I'm putting y'all on. I'm going to turn y'all into the best shooter possible. And let's jump into the best jump shot in the game. We're starting off with our small guard jump shots. You got to be under 6'5" in order to use this. And this is the best jump shot in the game. This is going to be base Patty Mills, aka Patrick Mills, you know, because, you know, he doesn't come up as Patty Mills. So you might be confused. You got to find base release Patrick Mills. We have upper release 1 Oscar Robertson and upper release 2 Oscar Robertson. Full release speed. The blending doesn't matter because it's the same releases. In order to unlock the Patty Mills base, you need to have an 84 mid-range or 3-point shot. Now, in order to get this exact jump shot, you need an 87 mid-range or 3-point shot because Oscar Robertson brings up that rating. So if you guys don't have an 87, but you have, you know, an 84, 85, or 86, then you can take out Oscar Robertson and you can put in any release you really want. But if you want to go Colin Sexton, that could be pretty good. So you could put in Colin Sexton. That would bring the requirement down if you don't have an 87. But I like to go double Oscar with Patty Mills. Now, this is the thing, and I already know people are going to comment about this because they just skip. They don't end up listening. They don't listen to the video. You have to be a starter 3 rep. You guys hear me? Starter 3 rep in order to get this jump shot, because I'm only putting this much emphasis on it because I said that in my last jump shot video when I mentioned this, but I still got tons of comments about it because y'all aren't listening. You gotta be starter 3 because once you're starter 3, you get a ton of different actually not dribble moves, I don't think. You unlock a lot of jump shot bases, some different animations, and Patrick Mills base is one of those animations that you get at starter 3, and it is 100% worth it because it is the fastest jump shot base in the entire game. You guys can see in the bottom right corner, it's an A+ maxed out. I mean, I could literally put on pretty much any releases that I want and it'll still be an A+. With a lot of these bases, that's not the case. You also get an A+ release height with this base. You're shooting over everybody. Now, if you guys do put this on, warning, it is very fast. Like, you're probably going to be shooting late your first few games with this jumper. Also, you might struggle to shoot wide open first few games with this jumper because it's weird. It's really fast, but it's really good once you get it down. Once you get it down, you know, you use it for a full day. I'm telling y'all, stick with it. You will never want to use another jumper again. It is that good. All of the top pro-am players, the 2K League players, are raving about it. All the stage guards use this because it's the best jumper in the game. Now, if you guys aren't starter 3, then the jumper that I would probably use is going to be base John Stockton with Colin Sexton as upper release 1 and Oscar Robertson as upper release 2. Now, in order to get base John Stockton, you need at least an 87 mid-range or 3-point shot. And then once you put on the exact releases I have, you guys can see in the bottom right corner, you need an 88 mid-range or 3-point shot. If you're a small guard, a lot of y'all probably have that, but I will give you guys other jump shots, of course, in case you have a lower 3-point rating. And you guys could just tell the grades for the Patty Mills base and jump shot was just better. This jumper also has a maxed out A+ release speed, but you could tell if you go from Patty Mills base to Stockton, you could tell that Patty Mills is just faster. Stockton is still fast. You see it's maxed out, but it doesn't hit like Patty Mills does. But again, if you're a low rep in the game, you're a new player, you got a short build, then I'd go with this. And we go 15% Colin Sexton, 85% Oscar Robertson. The reason is because if you go with a lot of Colin Sexton, it makes the jumper faster. It just gets harder to time. I don't know. I've heard from a lot of people, a lot of good players, that you don't want to put too much Colin Sexton in it. So I decided to go with 15. Some people go with 20. You guys can kind of mess around, but I've heard, you know, you don't want to go above like 25. Jump shot number 3 for these small guards is going to be base Stephen Curry. You need a 92+ mid-range or 3-point shot to unlock this. So it's one of the hardest bases to unlock because you got to have a crazy shooting build to get it. And you also got to be under 6'5". Again, we're going Colin Sexton, Oscar Robertson for the releases, same blending, same release speed, full speed. Now, a lot of people like this. If you can't get Patty Mills, a lot of people recommend that you go Steph Curry for the base on these small guards. I always go with Stockton. I never really got into Stephen Curry base. Maybe y'all like it, so give it a shot. And in case you guys can't get any of those bases, I'm gonna list off a few other bases that are very good. Again, the releases don't matter too much. The base is the main thing that matters a lot. For the releases, you guys can go with Colin Sexton, 15%, Oscar 85, or you can go Oscar Robertson if it allows you to do that. So here are the other good bases, but they don't make, you know, my top 3 jumpers. We got base Derek Fisher. You guys can try that. We also have base Allen Iverson. I've heard that's pretty good. Another one that I used earlier in the year for a short period of time is base Terrence Mann. You guys can try that. Then also you guys could try base Brandon Podziemski. That's pretty good. And also base Kevin Porter Jr., which was really good last year. Now it's time to show you guys my top 3 jump shots for those middle heights, the 6'5 players up to 6'9 players. And I've shown this jump shot on my channel before, but this is the holy grail of jump shots, because if you guys can't get patting those, if you're not a small guard, if you're a taller guard, or maybe you're a lockdown, or you're a center that can shoot, this is the jump shot that you guys want to use. It is probably the best jump shot, if not the second best jump shot in the entire game. Again, sub up. I'm putting y'all onto game. I'm helping y'all out. The least y'all could do is sub up. It's free. I know a lot of y'all see the videos, but maybe you're not subbed. So sub up. We're on the road to 800K. We go Tracy McGrady base with Sadiq Bey release 1, Oscar Robertson release 2. Then we have full release speed, 70% Sadiq Bey and 30% Oscar. There's a lot of people that have T-Mac based jump shots. You probably heard of it before. You've probably seen a T-Mac jump shot before, unless this is your first time watching a jump shot video. And a lot of people go more on the Oscar. I go 70% Sadiq Bey, and I green contested shots all the time, and I don't miss wide open. I'm telling y'all, put this on. You'll never use a different jump shot for the rest of the year. This is the one. And again, on the bottom, you guys can see you need an 87 mid-range or an 87 3-point shot to unlock the Tracy McGrady base. But once I put on Sadiq Bey, you guys know Oscar Robertson always brings up the rating, but Sadiq Bey lowers it. So with that combo, you guys can see in the bottom right-hand corner, it's an 84 plus, but you need an 87 for T-Mac to pop up in the first place. And this next jumper is literally T-Mac's cousin. That's what I call it. I use it on my lockdown. So if you guys are on a lockdown build, aka a build that is crazy on defense, and you're not a crazy shooter, then you guys want to go to Jarrett Culver. This base is crazy. It looks just like Tracy McGrady. Actually, matter of fact, let me go and compare it so you guys can see Jarrett Culver, right? Look at him on the right. That's Jarrett Culver's jump shot. That's it right there. I'll let you guys see it one more time, just like that. Now, if I go over to Tracy McGrady right here, this is Tracy McGrady. It looks pretty much the same. It's pretty much the same, but T-Mac is just faster. So Jarrett Culver, if you're on a build that has a lower mid-range, a lower 3-point shot, maybe you're on a lockdown, maybe you're on a shooting center, this is the one that I recommend. This is what I use in all the wagers, the tournaments that I play on. If I have to play on lockdown and I can't get T-Mac, I use base Culver. Sadiq Bey, Oscar Robertson releases full speed, 70-30. This jumper is absolutely chicken. Now, the third best jumper for these forward type builds, the 6'5", the 6'9", is going to be base Taurean Prince. This is one that a lot of people have been using recently, and if you guys haven't tried it, then I recommend giving it a shot. You got base Taurean Prince, release 1, Troy Brown Jr., and release 2, we're going Oscar Robertson, full release speed. And the blending is the interesting part, because this jump shot right here is going to be really recommended for centers. If you're a lockdown and you want to use this, then you can use that as well. Or maybe you're a tall guard and you can't get T-Mac, then try out Taurean Prince base, because you need an 81, as you guys can see on the bottom, 81 mid-range or 81 3-point to unlock it. And once you put on the releases, you need an 84. But that's the thing. If you guys go with more Oscar, this is going to make it in the bottom right corner. You guys can see 86 now if you go higher on the Oscar. So if you go higher on the Troy Brown, though, let's see if we go 100%, you can get it with an 82 mid-range or 3-point. So it's up to y'all, depending on your build. If you have an 82, if you have an 83 3-point, you know what I'm saying? Put the blending on whatever you have to put it on in order to unlock it, because again, I don't know what 3-point rating you guys have on your build. So the one that I'd probably go with is 53% Troy Brown, 40% Oscar. But if you want more Oscar because you have a higher 3-point rating, maybe you have an 85, then you can go 65 Oscar, 35 Troy Brown. Those are my top 3 jump shot bases for 6'5" to 6'9" players, but I want to give y'all some extra ones in case y'all want to try them out. And there are a ton of bases for this height. So if y'all want to get interesting, y'all want to change it up, not use a mainstream jump shot, these are some of the best bases that I'd recommend that are a little bit less popular. And for all of these, we're going to go Oscar Robertson as both releases and full release speed. So the first one is going to be base Kobe Bryant. Now, not a lot of people use that one, but I do think it is solid. Pat Connaughton, another one that I don't hear a lot of people use, but I know some people have used it in the past, and it is solid. The next one is actually a solid one. That's going to be Dyson Dyson Daniels. Even I've used this at a point in time, but if you have a low 3-point rating, I'd just rather go with Jarrett Culver. But Dyson Daniels is another one, and this one's actually very good. One of the centers that I play with uses it a lot. I just have to find it, and that is going to be Cameron Johnson, but you need an 85 mid-range or 3-point shot to get it. So I don't know if y'all have that, and if you have a high 3-point rating or mid-range, then you should again probably just go with T-Mac. But Cameron Johnson's pretty good. Then next up, we once again have Terrence Mann right here. I've mentioned this in the small guards bases, and then the last one is going to be base Ben Shepherd. It's right here. I know Joe Knows uses it a lot. A lot of the best players use Ben Shepherd. It probably would be my 4th jump shot if I threw in a 4th jump shot. Again, we're going double Oscar, full release speed. Now we have jump shots for builds that are 6'10 or higher. And if y'all watch me a lot, you guys know I really don't have any shooting builds that are that tall. But I've done my research. So if y'all are watching this and you have a tall shooting build, maybe you made a 7-footer that can shoot. I know some people do that. I got y'all with the best jump shots because I did my research. I asked around. I talked to the best players. This is what they're using. Base Eric Pascal. I've heard a lot of good things about it. However, you need an 80 plus mid-range or an 80 plus 3-point. So that's kind of hard to get, especially if you're that tall. So you might not be able to have that. But Eric Pascal for the base, I can't even equip it because I haven't upgraded this player. And then for the releases, we are going to go with Marquise Chris and Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan is one of the best releases for these tall players, so you guys are going to want to put that on. Marquise Chris, that's another solid one. And for all of these jumpers, we're going to use Marquise Chris, Tim Duncan, and for the blending, we're going to go 75% Duncan, 25% Chris with the full release speed. Again, the base would be Eric Pascal for this jump shot. For the second jump shot for these builds, we're gonna go base Jonathan Isaac. This one is a little bit easier to unlock. I used this on, I believe, my lockdown earlier in the year. I think you can get this on forwards. It's not the best for forwards, but for these tall builds, you don't have a lot of options. Jonathan Isaac is actually a pretty solid base. Again, we're going Chris Duncan and full release speed, 25% Chris, 75% Duncan. And then the third jump shot that I recommend for these tall players is gonna be base O'Shea Brissett. This is a jumper that was very good last year. If you have a low shooting rating, you know, for your mid-range or your 3-point, maybe it's a 73 because that's what you need to get Brissett. This is what I would recommend. But if I had to pick one, I would go with that Eric Pascal jumper. And again, we're using the same release speed and blending on all of them. Hey, bro, if y'all made it this far, sub up. We're on the road to 800K, but also be one of the first subs to my new secret channel. It's called Solo Hoops. I'll put a link in the description. I post NBA videos every single day over there talking about the NBA.